Namaskar, this is Sai Sudhir from Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education. In this video we are going to discuss Introduction to Supply Chain Management. So welcome to this video lecture on rural supply chain management. So as you know supply chain management is one of the important area for any company to gain competitive advantage. So just start what is supply chain management, why it is important for any organization today in this lecture, and we will also discuss about the scope, its objectives, evolution of supply chain management, and the various approaches of supply chain management in this video. The term supply chain management was coined by various consultants in early 1980s, and the basic objective of supply chain management here is connecting from suppliers to the end customers. How it is trying to connect, how supply chain management is trying to bridge the gap between demand and supply. So supply chain management is basically the process of planning, organizing, controlling various important areas of supply chain management, which includes sourcing, procurement, operations, distribution, retailing, and of course product recalls. So we all know about planning. What is planning? Planning involves the process of estimating what is going to happen in the future. For that we have to assess what, when, where, how, and by whom. 5 important components which we have to assess in planning: what, when, where, how, and by whom. At the same time, we are talking about one more important component here, organizing, which means dividing the work into different parts, allocating the right work to the right person in a right time in a right place. And we are talking about one more component here called as controlling. What is controlling? It is to understand where we are deviating and how we have to make it corrective. So in supply chain management we are trying to apply these 3 important aspects for sourcing, where we are getting the raw material, how we have to get that raw material, how we have to preserve. So what is the source of getting raw material? We need to have a constructive plan of that, and we are procuring the raw material, product components. At the same time we are also implementing this planning, organizing, and controlling in operations. Production is also involved. So how we are operating this, how we are managing these operations. Likewise, distribution is one of the important activity in supply chain management. So there are different distributors involved in this. How we have to plan, how we have to organize the distributors, and how we have to control or regulate the activities while distribution, in the process of distribution. And of course retailing. So how we are supplying these products to the retailers, how retailers are making it available to the end customers. And finally, these days we are talking about very important component called as product recalls. What is recall? You might be having this question in your mind. What is recall? Several companies, especially in automobiles, if we talk in automobiles, several automobile makers are asking their customers to send their vehicles back because of some wiper issue or because of some anti-braking system issue. So because of certain issues they are asking customers to send back their products if there is any defect or deficiency in the product. So based on the defects, these companies are asking the customers to send back their product, and again they are rectifying the defect and sending it back to the customer, of course. So all these activities which we have to focus in the supply chain management with a proper planning, with proper organizing, and with the way of proper controlling aspects. And as I told you, supply chain management is a bridge between demand and supply. At the same time, it involves various components such as a supplier, manufacturer, wholesaler or a distributor, retailer and end customer. So when we talk about definitions of supply chain management, there are many definitions given by various experts and various organizations for supply chain management. Just I am taking two important definitions here. One is the definition coined by the Council of Logistics Management. And the basic important view of this definition is, it is the process of planning, implementing and controlling the efficient and cost effective flow. So we are talking about two important things here. One is being efficient and also being effective. So anyone have views on efficiency and effectiveness? Both are the same. The basic difference between efficiency and effectiveness is doing things in a right way. Doing things in a right way is called as efficiency. Doing right things is called as effectiveness. Doing right things is called as effectiveness. So we want to be both effective and efficient while doing certain things. In terms of logistics and supply chain management, we also need to be effective, we also need to be efficient, and it is to be from the point of order to the point of consumption, right from the starting point to the right to the end point. We need to be effective and efficient. We have to strive hard for gaining efficiency and effectiveness. There is also one more definition given by one expert called as Mr. Christopher. It is the management of upstream and downstream relationships. Management of upstream and downstream relationships with the suppliers and customers. So we are trying to provide best customer value at least cost through supply chain management, managing supply chain in an effective and efficient way. The main objective of this particular area is to provide best value to customers at least cost by managing both the suppliers and customers. So let's discuss more on how to handle these things in a right way. And when we talk about the evolution of supply chain management, this industrial revolution has started in 1700s, and this has many aspects, such as starting with craft production. This basically involves the capacity of an individual to make some individual products, some skill based products such as statues, some ornaments, basically handmade products, which is starting with craft production. Later on we have in 1700s we have one more concept of division of labor. So based on the specialization, based on the specific skill set of individuals, dividing the work into different parts and allocating that to the right person to make it effective and efficient. And then we have interchangeable parts, where we are using specific machinery with the system of measurements, inspection and the standard method of production. We are doing this interchangeable parts at the time. And one more important area here is scientific management. So we all know F.W. Taylor, who is the father of scientific management, which became a popular approach in 1900s. So this basically gave various methods, approaches for measurements, observations through this approach of scientific management, and later it led to mass production, and in the next phase focus is on quality, more emphasis is on quality. Finally we have this supply chain management. So basically in the supply chain management we are trying to manage the flow of information, process, the products and services. So it is not applied only to one particular area. supply chain management today we are applying in different ways, and the network plays a vital role here, that is the suppliers to end customer. So next, when we talk about the concept of supply chain, so supply chain is an old concept and supply chain management is a new and existing component. The first industrial revolution in 1700s, we have an efficient system, but there is a fragmented supply chain approach. When we talk about the supply chain management, which is about the logistics management, manufacturing management, and logistics is further having materials management and sales distribution management. In the second industrial revolution, which we came out with three important aspects. One is MRP1, MRP2 and ERP. We have three important aspects in the second industrial revolution time. One is the material requirements planning. Later emphasis is made on the manufacturing resources, and then we have ERP. Let's talk about the key objectives of supply chain management. There are various objectives of managing supply chain operations. When we talk about the key objectives, it is to improve the customer's service performance. As we mentioned earlier, we want to provide the best value for customers at a least cost. So how we can provide this? Organizations needs to build a kind of approach that helps them to come out with a proper way of providing customer value. And the next one is about reducing pre and post production inventory. Managing inventory is one of the important objective of supply chain management. So in this we have to focus how we have to manage our inventory levels, pre and post aspect, and to minimize the total cost of operations and procurements. So how we can reduce that cost? What is the system that we have to build for reducing this cost and procurement? And to also focus on the problems that is there for the suppliers. To achieve maximum efficiency, as we are discussing about gaining competitive advantage through supply chain management, the organizations also need to focus on utilizing the resources in an efficient and effective way. It includes labor, it might be the capital, it might be the plant or any other resource that is there with the organization. So what helps, what acts as a key drivers in crafting a supply chain strategy? As you all know, strategy, which is a long-term plan for any organization. Any organization needs to have that long-term perspective. How to craft that long-term plan? How long they can come out with a plan which helps them in crafting a proper strategy to deal with various supply chain aspects. Here we are talking about different areas where we have to focus, which acts as a key drivers for an organization in crafting a right strategy. So we are talking that it should be right. What is right? We need to have a right kind of production mechanism. We need to have a right kind of inventory levels in our organization. We need to have right kind of location where we have to store the goods, where we need to place a godown or a warehouse, where it has to be positioned. That location should be appropriate, which should be efficient and effective one. And we need to focus on transportation as well. So what methods of what modes of transportation we are using here? So which is the right kind of transportation for us in transit of these goods from one point to the other point? So managing all these aspects right from starting with the supplier to the end customer, it plays a very important role here. So what is the best mode starting from supplier to the distributor? Which is the best mode from supplier to the distributor to the retailer? And which is the best mode of operations for retailer to the end customer? And in terms of pricing, the way of fixing a product, pricing. So fixing the price for a product also plays a very important role here. And then we are focusing on sourcing as well as information. These days information also plays a very important role in managing the operations from one point to the other point. Providing information at the right time to the right person in the right time and in a right moment, that gives them a right way of approach in reaching the things in a right way. And we are talking about supply chain management approaches. So what are the various approaches we have here? We have two kind of approaches in managing supply chain operations. One is we have a traditional approach and we have a modern approach. What is a traditional approach and what is a modern approach? As we discussed earlier, managing operations effectively and efficiently is very important for any organization, especially in handling supply chain operations. In the traditional approach, customers and suppliers, they are mostly considered as the external entities. Companies are not giving them an opportunity to involve in the decision making. So this traditional approach aspect came out with the first level of material requirement planning. So what sort of material is required for them, how they have to collect that material, and in the next level we have in terms of planning, in terms of purchasing, in terms of outsourcing the operations, and in terms of locating the stores. In all these aspects also there is a problem for the companies in involving these suppliers and customers. And in the next level, customers and suppliers are also integrated into this aspect through ERP, because it is very important for every organization to see that every element is an integrated one in the supply chain management. Whether it is a supplier, whether it is a distributor, whether it is a retailer, every element, every area plays a very important role here. And in the modern approach, in the traditional approach, we are talking about three important areas, three important aspects like MRP1, MRP2 and ERP. And in this modern approach, we are talking about collaborative planning, forecasting, replenishment. Collaborative planning, forecasting, replenishment. In this is basically making all the players, organized players, as a single entity. Whether it is a supplier, whether it is a distributor, whether it is a retailer, whether it is an end customer, everyone we are trying to make them as a single entity and see that how we can bring a collaborative approach among all these players, all these organized players. These two approaches, whether it is a traditional approach or whether it is a modern approach, this is helping the organizations to plan their operations in a right way, organize the way of their operations in a right way, and help them in identifying the deviations and controlling the deviations by taking certain measures. So these are the basic things, elements involved in the supply chain management process, starting from supplier to the end customer. So the way of implementation involves planning, organizing and controlling of various elements such as sourcing the things, procurement of raw material or components, operations, dealing with the distribution, and providing that products to the retailers, and finally also looking at this recall aspect, product recalls. So these all components basically involved in the supply chain management, and basically SCM is acting as a bridge between demand and supply, where it is being provided by the suppliers and what it is expected by the customers. It is bridging the gap between these two things, and let's see how this is going to play a vital role for the companies to gain its competitive advantage. Thank you for watching this video. We'll meet in the next lessons. Thank you. Namaskar.